What I'm going to show you in this thing is I'm going to concentrate primarily on 3 villages. The one where my mother was born in 1915, the one she lived in starting in the 1920s, and there's going to be the hotel, and then I'm going to move on to our village where she and my sister lived in the 1930s, and then I'll end with the Lee Association ceremonies. This map here, there's a copy in the back. If you want to look at it, if you want a copy of it, get hold of me. It's the only map in existence I know of that has their villages actually on it. You can't read it here. They're very close hold on maps in China that have any meaning. If you look at a Google map, you'll see that all the place names and the roads are shifted off to one side. By law, they can't provide, they won't allow satellite images that are accurate. This is primarily, what you're seeing here is, the downtown is right here, and this is just that, this small area of the county. I saw a figure of 1 million people, but I think it may be the county. If you Google Taishan, you'll actually get the image of this. And again, I came in 11 years ago on this route, and this was all rural. This blue area, some sort of industrial complex, is new. And this was all dirt when I went back in through here, and this was what I referred to as 4-9. We're going to show you here, I'm going to show you the 3 villages. Down here at the bottom is where my mother was born. In the 1920s, her grandfather moved up, created a village of 6 buildings up in here, and then we'll move over to here, which is where the Lee villages are. There's Lee villages all over the place, but the ones we're interested in are here. And then, you know, the area down in here where there's some grave sites now. And let's see. These buildings are all less than 10 years old. Driving to this village here back in '07, it was like trying to drive through a trash dump where there had been truckloads of dirt and everything was kind of raw. That's the village. We'll show you a couple pictures. Usually you get to these places, most of the people have moved into the cities where they actually have an apartment with a living room, a kitchen, bedrooms, and so on. But if you go out into the villages, basically you got a house, you got 2 rooms in it, and a center room. The top left picture is my aunt and uncle, cousin, and we're standing in front of a building that's got the village name on it. Get in there, the spacing between buildings is very narrow, it's like a, barely, arm's length between them. This house hasn't been lived in that I know of since the family moved out of it in the 1920s, and the front of the building has collapsed. The walls are a couple feet thick, and if each family, you can have 2 families in a house. You can have 2 brothers' families, one on each side, and 2 cousins. If you go in about where I'm standing, there's a doorway, there's a cooking area, and then right here is a doorway going into one side of the building, and then there's a doorway that goes into the center room. You'll see more of that later on as I go. PowerPoint is taking a break, and let's see, here we go. This here will give you a better view. I've included some video because I think that gives you a better understanding rather than showing you a bunch of single shots. We're going to a relative's nearby house.
Could be anywhere.
Between it is very narrow. You understand Taishan, will catch a few words.
All right.
We're going into a house.
Yeah.
1 bedroom to the right. That guy's a lawyer.
Mà để chỉ chết bởi chỉ cái tiếng của tuổi nhé.
Đó, về người cuối của
Bố sẽ
cái phạt của mình mà
còn cái đó là great grandfather. Buổi chém cúng rồi đó.
Yeah.
That was a grandfather, the younger brother.
Huh.
You understand English?
như thế nào
He hasn't spoken English in 10 years.
Don't fight that, man.
không hề bị bao
That means that great grandfather that died was the grandfather, the younger brother.
Okay.
You know what I mean now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great grandmother, Gigi.
Huh?
Great grandmother.
Oh, bằng ngủ mà
Yeah.
There's something on the ground. I think they used to grind the rice.
Oh my
Okay.
Oh my.
Your chain hold.
Okay. Let's see. This is, okay, I think basically I discussed it earlier. We were down here to the bottom, and then we're going to move up into this area right here, south of the river. There's 6 buildings there that were built in the 1920s. Great-great-grandfather actually tore down half of that village because of the feng shui wasn't right and rebuilt it. These buildings here were just being built when I was there in the mid-2000s. And this area here was all dirt. Down in here was all dirt. So we had a hard time finding it. Actually, these are pretty substantial looking buildings. I'll sell it to you as a fixer-upper. This is not the area, not the units that we lived in, my ancestors lived in. I think I took these as an adjacent unit. Again, you know, you got a small room on one side for a family. You got this must be the other side. I'm just guessing. The cooking areas, there's usually 2 in each house, made of brick. You got a well, and beyond my aunt, you can see it's still kind of rural back there. This was going up as when I was there. The interesting thing was when I went back this time, I did have an objective of finding my relatives' villages. I ended up in a hotel right here. I've been kidding folks that this is Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. You'll see the resemblance. He might have an investment there. And just a block and a half away is where my mother grew up as a kid. So I thought that was great at the time. Don't you guys see the resemblance? Here's the inside. And this is just one wing of the place. This is looking across the street from the hotel. And if I went down the street to the left about half a block and turned right, this is what I would see. All those buildings, well, the buildings that were across from the hotel, those buildings down there, all that high-rise has been constructed in the last 10 years. The buildings that are lower level were, you know, in progress at the time. My mother's village is behind these few buildings right here on the corner, and this is as close as I could get to it. I could never get to it. We got in a car and tried coming in from a different direction. I think the village is abandoned, but back in there, you can just barely see a tree housetop there. So I was a little disappointed there. So now we're going to go from the far left, and we're going to go over to this area here. Back in '07, you basically came out of this Namwin Kill, this bridge here, and just followed this road down about 5 minutes, less than 10, and you got the several villages here. All of these vertical streets were not there back then. So there's been a lot of changes. And these are not abandoned, these are not empty buildings. I've been in China in places where, you know, you got buildings like this and there's nobody in it. I mean, parts of China are really modern and parts of it are still pretty rural. I mean, that could be New York City, that could be Brooklyn. This is the area that Helen and I are focusing in on. Helen has a relative in this one. She calls it Gutun, which translate as Old Village. Chengfatun is right here in the middle. I'll show you a couple pictures. And then the one on the right is Chengsentun. And you know, we can get into debates about what the proper names are, the proper spellings, but it's the best I can do for you. This is that village that was in the middle, Chengfatun. The words, you get into this business of traditional Chinese and the current Chinese, the simplified Chinese, and the things all look different. Again, Old Village on the left and the Chengfatun in the middle. Here's one view of that village that goes back. I think this picture is about 10 years old. This picture was a year and a half ago, and this one here, I think, give you a little better perspective. Let's see if this thing takes. I hope it does. Come on. We're just going to pan the village. I think a video will give you a little better view. Look at a high-rise radio tower. There's still some people living in these things. Some of you I know can follow the Chinese. This is the one to my father's village. Chiangkai is the first couple of words. That's the geographic area we're in. And for many of the Chinese in this area, their roots are from Chiangkai. Chengsentun is the actual village name in this case. Again, so we're down here right now. They've actually cut the road that we came on before. You got to use these more modern highways. There's another view shot from the ground. Let's see, what am I doing here? The two villages, the one in the middle and the one to the right, are actually very close. If any of you go up the Silver Fountain, the owner has a house that's up that little walkway. My mom's house is the one that's in the dead center right now, and new stuff has been put in there, infiltrated. Let's see, what here. Oops. I'm just going to skip this here. I'm standing in front of the house. Notice how narrow the walkway is in between buildings. Occasionally you'll run into a relative and somebody will say, such and such lived across from your mother or your grandmother. Well, that's how close you are. And if your house is further back, you can't even get a decent picture of the house. You might get a picture of the doorway. Oops, we're going to pause for a second here. What we're going to show in the next couple of slides is give you an inside view, and then we're toward the end here. See, please. Then I'll lose it. My Chinese is the Hoisan dialect. I've forgotten, if I ever even knew it, I've forgotten most of it. My vocabulary is horrible, and I don't understand the Chinese culture, to be honest with you. So I'm definitely a Jooksing. And if you go to China, now I have managed to use the language a little bit in Canton, I've used it in Taishan, I've used it in Hong Kong. A lot of the older generations of people born in Hong Kong trace back to here, but you can't go to China unless you got a good escort or a relative that will, you know, make all the arrangements, handle the transportation, you know, do all the discussions. You're just totally out of it. This one shows, let me see, back up. Where am I? If you go into that house through the doorway, this is my mom's side. From her side, you can see it, the center room is in there. There's some calendars on the wall. That's that pink and green stuff. And beyond it is the doorway to the other side. From where I'm standing, there's actually a cooking area, and there's an entrance to our side of the house. That was what she cooked on. This is, I think, in the main room. There's a picture, one looking one direction, one looking the other. Yeah. And then many of the pictures you'll see on the walls are pictures that are sent back from the States. And so I recognize some of those pictures in our own photo album. Yeah, that's the other side of the house where my dad's cousin's family lived. Ours is this side. Somebody dug a hole in the floor for some reason and never filled it back in. There's a well. Hang San, you walk into the mountain or wherever to go visit your ancestors' grave sites. You go back to Hang San. This is, my brother took this picture back in '92. There's just one of many shots, and I'm going to belabor it. I believe this is one of our ancestors, our great-grandfather perhaps. Now, since then, the highways were coming through, and so some of us had to kick in some money to relocate the bones and do it up, you know, halfway decent. On the day I got to this thing, it was pouring rain, and nobody had cleared the path up this little bit of a hill. It was a miserable thing, and we got stuck in the mud. Lee Association, this picture was taken in Jooksing. One of the places we stopped while we were there, one of the towns had a museum that oversees Chinese, and they had many of the pictures you would see, you know, any place, you know, the railroad workers and so on. And Taishan, this thing's on the floor, has a prominent spot there. This is in the city. We were getting ready to pay our respects there. My uncle actually taught school in that building back in the late 40s. We had all the folks with the dragon dancers, the dead pigs. The roast pig here tastes very good. And you can actually get the roast pig here, like New Cam Farm on University Boulevard. Their pig is pretty darn close to this. Cantonese food here and over there, I find they're fairly similar. Here they're going to pay respects, they're bowing, and then they went to that other village, Chengfatun. I think Helen tells me it's a Lee ancestral hall. Inside, basically it's a room. There's a little, I don't know what you call it, an altar or something up front. In the far right are some pictures, I believe 8th generation. We went through the same thing with the pigs and the candles and the bowing and all that stuff. I think this, somebody said something about 8th generation. I don't know. Let's see. A couple more and we're almost done. I think everybody got in a fuss, and we went to a third location, And here they're kind of walking up a little hill. I think the fact there's actually a hill in that picture is more coincidental. As you drive around China, you're going to see little spots on the side of the roadway where there's, you know, a grave site. I saw the first picture coming up halfway and going up to the top corner there. Let's see. Let's see. Oops, not responding. All we gotta do is get through 3 more of these. Come on. It says the PowerPoint's not responding. It doesn't do me a lot of good. Keep clicking it. Here we go. We're up at that side.
Hiện thực sự với ai xem coi dân ngồi ôi nước sạch ngồi mua mua thơm này thì chỉ còn ăn từng chiếc bây giờ từng thiên thế nhà sức bảo để ngồi được gì về biểu gì thức.
Let's see. This picture, somebody grabbed me, stuck a Chinese meat cleaver in my hand, and shut me down by a pig. After this was over, we actually cut up these pigs, and everybody had a chance to eat it. Sometimes what you do is you take it back to, you know, it's just, well, for my ancestors' thing, we just bought a little box of stuff, but it was pouring rain, so we took it back to normally you'd take it back to your house. Let's see, this one here. I thought I changed this heading on this thing, but it didn't take apparently. Come on, do something, please. We're just about done. Here was the conclusion of that episode up on the hill. They used real firecrackers there. We're at the hotel in Jooksings. We had a banquet. We had a banquet as part of the convention in Taishan, and then we had one for the local folks. And anyway, here's a picture there, and that concludes my portion.